Today, we are continuing in our series on the fruit of the Spirit, and as I shared earlier with our children, the fruit that we're looking at today is gentleness or meekness. And as we continue this series, today I really just want to focus in on and unpack these three verses from Matthew 11. These three verses are, to me, some of the most meaningful and encouraging verses in the Bible. And in them, Jesus makes an invitation. And he makes this invitation to a particular group, to all who are weary and are carrying heavy burdens. Are you tired? Are you carrying a heavy load into this sanctuary today? If so, Jesus is speaking to you. In making this invitation, Jesus is acknowledging that life is hard and heavy. That was true 2,000 years ago, and that's still true today. Are you carrying a burden into this sanctuary? Some of us are carrying a heavy emotional load. We're worried about our children, or we're struggling with depression, or we're feeling alone, or we know someone who's dying from cancer, or we've got a situation at work that we're not just sure how to handle. Some of us are carrying a heavy physical load. Our back hurts. We're experiencing chronic pain. We're on medication for a problem that won't go away, or we're not sleeping well at night, or we're having these headaches again and again. Some of us are carrying a heavy relational load. We've been hurt by someone and we're angry, or we've been in a fight with a spouse or a friend or a son or daughter, or we've grown distant from our kids, or we're having this tension with our neighbors who are driving us crazy. Some of us are carrying a heavy financial load. We've lost our work, we've lost our job, we're looking for a new one, or we're unsure about our career, or we're using our credit card more than we should. Or we're helping out, supporting someone else financially, and we're feeling the weight of that. Maybe our parents, maybe our children. Some of us are carrying a heavy religious load. We come to church because someone else wants us to. Or we're still volunteering for that same position because no one else will do it. Or we see God as a demanding parent who simply wants something from us. In the original context of his words, Jesus is speaking specifically about religious burdens. He is speaking to good Jews, to the church-going religious folks of his day. And he's speaking to those who are worn down by trying to live out their faith. Eugene Peterson translates verse 28 this way: "Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion?" Jesus is speaking to folks who are trying to follow the guidelines of faith on their own, apart from him. And if we're coming to church but not coming to Jesus, my sense is that we will get burned out, and that over time, eventually, we will want less and less to do with church. Religious loads, financial loads, relational loads, physical loads, emotional loads, all of these make life heavy. And Jesus understands this. Jesus understands that life can wear us down. If you know what it's like to feel tired or overwhelmed, overloaded, then Jesus is speaking to you. Not just to the person sitting on your right or left, but to you. Whether you count yourself a Christian or not, whether you come to church every week or once a year, if you know that life is heavy, Jesus is speaking to you. And he's giving you an invitation. Come to me. Come to me. Not talk about me. Not live by the principles I teach. Not even come to church, but come to me. It's a personal invitation to be with Jesus, in his presence, to relate to him, experience life with him, to know him. Come to me and I will give you rest. Literally, Jesus says, come to me and I will rest you. I will refresh you. Jesus does the work of resting us. He works rest into us. Now, when you feel overloaded, worn out, what or who do you turn to? Jesus says to you today, I want to refresh you, all of who you are. Later, Jesus says that you will find rest for your souls. Jesus is offering soul rest, something deeper than even physical rest. Now, my wife likes to get massages. Any massage fans out there? Only 3. Okay, all right. Massages are a great thing, right? I'm really not into them, but I hear they're a great thing. And she's really into deep tissue massages, just like, deep tissue. That's kind of what Jesus is offering here. Not surface rest, but deep tissue rest. A kind of rest that works its way all the way into our heart and our mind and our soul. The deepest rest possible. Are you feeling tired? Then come to Jesus. But how is it that we find rest in Jesus exactly? How does that work? Jesus tells us in verse 29, take up my yoke and learn from me. Take up my yoke. Do any of you own a yoke? Okay, not a lot of yoke owners out here. I wouldn't think so. A yoke is a wooden beam that attaches 2 farm animals, say 2 oxen, for example. The yoke gives the farmer the ability to steer the animals where he wants them to go. So wearing a yoke means losing your independence. It means submitting rather than being in control. In calling us to take up his yoke, Jesus is inviting us to give up control, to let him lead, to let him steer, to let him set the direction and pace of our life. In essence, Jesus is saying, if you want rest, then let go of control. Now, some of us might be thinking, can't I have both? Like, can I go with the rest and control option? But that's not an option that Jesus gives us here. If we want rest, we must take up his yoke, which means giving up control. Now, for some of us, that's downright scary. We've made it our life aim to be in control. Yes, we might go to church. Yes, we might consider ourselves a Christian. But when it comes to life, like the real decisions we make and the directions we move, we want control. Now, if that is you, it's important to ask this question. Can I trust Jesus? Really? Can I trust Jesus? Not just in theory, but in practice. Sometimes it's easier to believe in Jesus than to believe Jesus. Can I trust Jesus? One thing's for sure, we'll never know until we try. As you look at your life, is there an area where you are clinging to control? Is Jesus saying to you, give up control in this area. Let me set the direction and pace here. To take up Jesus' yoke means to give up control, which is risky. But it also means to share our load with Jesus, which is what makes it worth the risk. A yoke attaches 2 farm animals together so that they can work as a team. In this way, it lightens their load. It makes it easier for them. By working together, the load is shared, and therefore the load is lightened. Many of us are carrying heavy loads. Big and small, but heavy nonetheless. In all these different areas we just talked about, whether they're emotional, physical, relational, financial, even religious. And we can be crushed by the weight of those loads if we carry them alone. So Jesus says to us, share the load you are carrying with me. Take up my yoke so that you and I can face this together so that we can be a team. Like many of us, I have lower back pain at times. And, there's opportunities where I'm carrying heavy things. Maybe someone needs to move, or maybe we're moving furniture or boxes here at church, or maybe at home. And I'm just one of those people who says, I've got it. Like, I'll take this box. I'll move this couch by myself. And the next day, I'm just like, there's days where it's just like, it's hard to get out of bed. And I know that if someone were with me and if they were to say, hey, let's take this together, that couch, that box, that table, no problem. No problem. Jesus is saying to us, let's take this together. Come to me and let me lead. My shoulders are stronger than yours. Now, some people hear this invitation and say, I don't know. To be honest, I don't trust very many leaders, even religious leaders. And in my experience, religious leaders in particular can be proud or harsh. I think that's true today, and that was certainly true 2,000 years ago as well. The main religious leaders of Jesus' day were the Pharisees, and they knew their Bible inside and out, and they followed it to a T. But they did so with a proud and harsh spirit. They were critical and demanding. But notice what Jesus says. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart. Wow. What a striking statement. Here is Jesus, God in human form, the Lord of all creation, and he is gentle and humble in heart. How cool is that? What happens when we're around someone who is gentle and humble? The walls come down. We come out of our shell. We open up. I don't know about you, but when I find a leader who is gentle and humble, I light up. I come alive. There's a part of me that says, yes, finally, this is what I long for. Jesus is not a harsh leader. He's a gentle leader. Jesus is not a proud leader. He is a humble leader. And because he is gentle and humble, it's safe to come to him. This morning, Jesus says to you, come to me. Have you ever come to Jesus? Have you ever turned to him and said, okay, I'm all in. You lead, I'll follow. I'll be your apprentice. I'll learn from you how to live my life. Learn from me, Jesus says, for I am gentle and humble in heart. Now, the word Jesus uses for gentle can also be translated as meek. Gentleness and meekness come from the same Greek word. But I do think that some of us hear the word meek and think wimp, weak. But that's not what the word means. Jesus was meek, but he was also incredibly strong. He was so strong, so courageous, so dangerous that the leaders of his day had him killed. Meekness isn't weakness, it's strength, but it's an inward strength clothed in a soft exterior. As I described it earlier with our children, it's a strong hand with a soft touch. A strong hand with a soft touch. That's what the word gentleness or meekness means. It's a tenderness that is rooted in strength and power. Now, what did that look like for Jesus in very practical terms? I'd like to give you one example by looking at a story from the Gospel of John. In John chapter 8, we find this story. Early in the morning, Jesus came again to the temple. All the people came to him and sat down and he began to teach them. The scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in adultery, and making her stand before all of them, they said to him, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now what do you say?" They said this to test him, so that they might have some charge to bring against him. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let anyone among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." And once again, he bent down and wrote on the ground. When they heard it, they went away one by one, beginning with the elders. And Jesus was left alone with the woman standing before him. Jesus straightened up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She said, "No one, sir." And Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go your way, and from now on do not sin again." This story is a great picture of how gentleness or meekness is a strong hand with a soft touch. We see Jesus' strength in this story. The strength to stand up to a mob with rocks in their hands, the strength to challenge the religious leaders of his day, the strength to speak words of truth to this woman, inward strength, yet clothed in a soft exterior. In this story, we see Jesus' gentleness to a woman who, according to tradition, should have been put to death. Now, if Jesus did this today, there are some who would ask, is Jesus soft on sin? He's not, yet neither is he harsh. What he cares about most are people, especially broken people, hurt people, people who are outcasts. Now, there are times when I'm tempted to throw rocks at others. But I also know my own brokenness. And we broken people seek gentleness. We seek mercy. We need others who won't throw rocks at us because of our sin, but who will help us up, brush us off, and embrace us as we go to sin no more. As Nicole Riley points out, the call to gentleness is a call to be in touch with our own brokenness. Now, in our world, most of us associate with those who share our strengths. Those who have great faith tend to hang out with others who are faithful. Someone who really values honesty is probably going to have friends who are honest. Football fans like to hang out with football fans. Knitters like to hang out with knitters. We all do this, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But have you noticed that what really builds community may not be anything to do with shared strengths? Oftentimes, what builds community is the sharing of weakness. This is what the church is called to be. A place where weakness isn't hidden or denied, but where we can come together in our brokenness and experiencing the transforming grace of our gentle Savior. True community comes when we take off our masks and we are real with each other, real about the burdens we are carrying, real about the brokenness in our lives. And to develop that kind of community, it doesn't happen automatically. To develop that kind of community where we can really be real with each other, we need to understand and embody Jesus' gentleness. Gentleness was the eyes through which Jesus looked at people. That's why the outcasts of his day, the folks who didn't belong in church, were drawn to him. In him, they found someone who was safe, someone they could come to, someone who would protect them from the rock-throwing folks of their day. This morning, Jesus invites us to come. Come to me, all who are weary and heavy burdened. Come to me, all who are broken and imperfect. Come to me and receive my grace, my rest, my love. It all starts with coming to Jesus. Coming to Jesus and saying, "You lead, I'll follow." Let's pray. As we take a minute to reflect on this verse, I want to invite you just to close your eyes and picture whatever burden you are carrying. Just picture it, name it, and picture it. I'm going to invite us to use our imagination. Sometimes God can speak to us as we use our imagination in line with Scripture. So I want you just to picture your burden, name it, and then you're carrying it. I don't know if you're carrying it in a backpack or in your arms or on your shoulders, but you're carrying it. And I want you to look out as you just imagine this with your eyes closed, and I just want you to picture Jesus. However you picture him, however you can see him standing in front of you. And I want you to picture him inviting you to him, just saying, come to me, come to me. What does Jesus say to you as you come to him? What do you see in his eyes? What do you hear him say? What does he see when he looks at your burden? What does he say to you about it? Now I want you to imagine just lifting that burden and handing it over to Jesus. And now picture Jesus inviting you to come and to stand with him as you share that yoke, so that you're lined up with Jesus. And so you're standing and you say to him, Jesus, you lead, I'll follow. In this area where I'm carrying a burden, Jesus, you lead, I'll follow. And now picture yourself walking with Jesus. And now the burden being carried by both of you. And your shoulders, the lightness of it. The lightness of walking with Jesus. His yoke is easy and light. As we continue in response to this word, and I hope that God is speaking to you. You know, I believe that God speaks to you in ways that I have no idea. And God can personalize his word to you this morning, what's going on in your life. But we're gonna sing a song called Love Is Here. And it's a song where we're hearing that invitation. Come to me, Jesus is saying. Come to me because love is here. All you who are tired, come to me. So I invite you, as we sing this song, that if you would like to stand. If you want to sit. If you want to just be still and pray, this is a time for you to come to Jesus as he invites us to do so.